Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinu. Continuing our major headlines, I did want to share this with you. This is a Fox 5 Atlanta Post stating that testimony will resume tomorrow in the Colin Gray trial. Jurors recently viewed body cam footage of Gray's reaction to the Apalachee High School shooting. And this, meanwhile, is some video from last week's trial as it is set to resume tomorrow. Testimony is expected to resume tomorrow for Colin Gray, who is the father of the accused Apalachee High School shooter, Colin Gray. Last week, prosecutors began building their case that Colin Gray ignored warning signs and enabled his son's access to the rifle used in the deadly school attack. Gray faces nearly 30 charges, including second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter in connection with the September 2024 shooting that killed 4 people and injured 9 others. Prosecutors argue Colin Gray knew his son was obsessed with school shooters, even having a shrine in his bedroom to Nicholas Cruz, the shooter in the 2018 massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. And they also argue that Gray is criminally responsible for the shooting because he allegedly knew of warning signs and still allowed access to the firearm. They argue he failed to intervene despite red flags about his son's behavior and potential for violence. Defense attorneys, though, have maintained that Gray did not foresee the attack and have suggested that responsibility lies solely with the shooter. For more on this, I do want to bring in Kelly Heineman, who is an attorney, to talk more about the significance and also the arguments that we've already heard. And Kelly, we appreciate you joining us here on Live Now from Fox.
Great to see you.
Before we get into the specifics in terms of what we heard last week and also what we might be hearing in the coming days and weeks, can you share with our viewers the significance of this trial?
This is a historic case, and here's why. This is the first time in Georgia in which a parent could potentially be held liable for a child's shooting. Now, this is the second case. The first case was in Michigan, in which the Crumleys were charged by being negligent for their son not maintaining a gun, and the jury came back and found them guilty. In this case, Colin Gray, who is the son of Colin Gray, has been charged with involuntary manslaughter, second-degree murder, and then also cruelty to children. So based on the evidence presented, if the jury believe in fact that he's guilty, he could potentially go to jail for 180 years.
So Colin Gray, the father of Colin Gray, on trial, and during opening statements, we were hearing from the prosecution really outlining the timeline of events, but also, you know, the mental state and the emotional state of Colin Gray. But the defense really focused on the argument that the jury needs to look at the would and not the could. It's not could the son potentially commit, but would he? And can you outline the nuances in terms of those particular words, and what the jury needs to focus on?
So the prosecution that brought the case has to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt, and they have to prove each element of the causes of action. And so what is key for this case is foreseeability. What that means is, was the actions of the son foreseeable? Did the father also have the knowledge, what he knew, right? Not what he should have known, but what exactly he knew. And so did he in fact have the knowledge that his son was going to do this act? Did he know that his son was going to harm other people? And that's really key. And so the prosecution are going to focus on the facts. It's going to help substantiate that. They're going to focus when the FBI came to visit the son and the father, because the son allegedly posted stuff online, in fact, about a shooting. However, the defense are going to argue the fact that the son denied that action, that the son said that it wasn't him. And so, in fact, based on that, it wasn't foreseeable. The father didn't know, in fact, that the son was going to commit the crime. Those are going to be really important things that the jury is going to look at.
You also mentioned the Crumblies, the previous case, and this is not the first case in the United States where parents might be held responsible for the actions of their child. You know, can you talk about how the Crumblies sentencing, because both the mother and the father were found guilty in their particular cases, but can you talk about the precedent that particular case sets for this one?
Sure. So it's key from the standpoint of legally holding parents liable for the actions of their child. However, that was in a different state. So because of that, the law doesn't apply. But the fact that these types of cases are being brought forward. Now, when we look at the Crumley case, there's facts specific to those cases. And what were key facts in that case was about the access to the gun. Did the parents lock up the gun? Did the parents make sure that the children did not have access to the gun? And also, because of that case, it changed legislation in regards to securing the gun as well. Now, that's going to be key currently in the case going forward against Colin Gray, because there's allegations, in fact, that the guns weren't locked up, that they were accessible to the son, that he had access to them as well. And so they weren't in a safe place. And so he was able to get access to them and bring them allegedly to the school and kill people.
A lot of the arguments has focused on the mental health of Colt Gray, the son, the alleged high school shooter. Can you talk about how the issue of mental health might factor into the line of arguments that the jury will hear?
Because of the fact of the parents' actions. In the opening, the prosecution made it very clear, according to them, that this is not about accountability. This case is not about accountability. It is about the actions of the parent or inactions of the parent. So the fact that there was allegedly mental health, what exactly did the parents do? What actions did the parents do for the kids' mental health? Now, defense make the argument that Colin Gray was very involved in his son's life, that he wanted to make sure that he was working with counselors to get the help that he needed and to make sure that he was properly counseled and got the help that he needed. But those are definitely key things in both the cases, and in the other case as well, about the Crumleys, in that case, about mental health as well, and definitely in this case. Now, could also potentially the mental health affect the son when he goes to trial. The son, Colt, has not gone to trial yet, and you're innocent into a court of law until proven guilty, and he has pled not guilty, and potentially mental health might play a role in his case as well.
So, when it comes to witnesses and individuals taking this stand, do you anticipate Colin Gray taking the stand in his own defense?
I don't anticipate it, but you never know. Now, it's important to remember, from a legal standpoint, an attorney can advise the client, can say to the client, I don't feel like it's a good idea for you to testify based on the facts of why, but ultimately it's the client's decision. So Colin Gray could decide, yes, I want the jury to hear my side of the story. And the attorney might say to him, I think it might be helpful for you to do it. But we go back to the point that the prosecution has to prove the case, and it's their burden. So, with all that, I do not see him testifying in this case.
And what about Colt Gray, the son?
So, Colt Gray, I don't see him testifying in the father's case. I don't see that happening. I know that the father has, through his attorney, has asserted that, in fact, that it is not the father's fault, right? That he shouldn't be held accountable for someone else's actions as well. And now when we talk about the son, he has his own case and he has been charged with these crimes. I do not see him also testifying in his own case, as well as he's been also charged with involuntary manslaughter and murder as well.
All right. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the coming days and weeks. Attorney Kelly Hyman, we appreciate, as always, you joining us here on Live Now from Fox.
Great to see you.
And we are going to be following all of the developments as testimony is expected to resume tomorrow in the Colin Gray trial. Any significant developments, we will share them with you right here on Live Now from Fox.